Hi, my name is Jody Gan, and I'm an American University faculty member teaching courses in public health and health promotion. I was asked to make a short, low tech video for the Bethesda Village with some wellness tips to help you manage and feel good physically and mentally during this very unsettling time. I'm a lifelong resident of the area, and my mom is a senior living on her own in Bethesda. And so I'm going to be sharing with you some tips that I've been sharing with her and some tips that she's been sharing with me. I've also created an information sheet to go along with this video that has more specific information about how to access some of the services and activities and information that I talk about here. Okay, so I'm going to start with talking about getting dressed in the morning. While it's tempting to stay in our PJs all day, I suggest getting out of them in the morning and putting on exercise clothes, like I have on, so you can easily incorporate movement and fitness throughout your day, taking lots of breaks to do some of the things we're going to be talking about. And once you're dressed in the morning, if you're like me, you need coffee immediately. If you're someone who likes to catch up on the news while you have your coffee, I don't want to interrupt that routine. But something else to consider is scheduling a morning coffee break with a friend. So, right now, we can't go to our favorite coffee shops right now, meet up with people, but you can use FaceTime or even just a simple phone call to enjoy your coffee while checking in and catching up with a friend. If you're not ready to deal with people quite yet, the beginning of the day is a wonderful time to soak in the morning sun by sitting close to your window. This is a tip that my mom just shared with me. She said she's actually making herself get up a little early or than usual just to enjoy that special brightness that the morning offers. So I know that many of you probably have established fitness routines, maybe a regular exercise class you go to, or a group that you walk with regularly. You should definitely continue to take your morning rocks. Maybe this right now while listening to an audiobook, that's something that I'm really enjoying, or finding on the internet a workout, an appropriate workout that matches where you are physically, that you can either do on your own when you're feeling like it's a good time, or possibly in real time. There's lots of workouts being offered for people of all ages through Zoom and other applications that gets people up and moving together. I provided some links to some free yoga and fitness classes, as well as some simple instructions for strengthening and balancing exercises that are always important for older adults, and simple exercises that you can do right in your kitchen. Holding onto the countertop, you can do calf raises and counter push ups, two things that work very well in the kitchen. Iona Senior Services, which many of you might be familiar with, they're located in Northwest DC, has a very vibrant website called aroundtowndc.org. And if you do the /online activities, you'll see a myriad of virtual activities for those over 60, such as online fitness classes and instructions for exercises that are appropriate for seniors, but also links to Broadway shows, museum tours, lectures, book suggestions. So that's a great resource to check out, and they've done a very nice job of making it virtual and appropriate for social distancing right now. So, physical activity does not have to be as structured as an online workout. Getting out in your garden right now, I've got my gardening gloves, to pull weeds, to move earth around is wonderful for all the muscle groups. And also, you'll see the progress and have something nice to look at when you're peering out your window. So similarly, it's a great time to clean the windows. Cleaning the windows both inside and out gives you a productive workout and again, a really nice end product. Okay, so it's so important to stay positive during this stressful time, a time that's especially stressful for older adults. So we mentioned Iona's link to Broadway musicals, and Broadway musicals tend to be light and upbeat, connecting you to maybe a time in your life when you didn't feel so worried and you felt a little more carefree. So that's something that you can link to through Iona's, but also on your own. You can get your smart speaker to play songs from your favorite Broadway show. So you're probably aware that even before coronavirus became a reality, that meditation and mindfulness were becoming a very widespread mental health tool. Bethesda's own Tara Brach is a national leader on mindfulness, and her Wednesday night practices at the Bethesda Unitarian Church are now offered through her website. And I know people are tuning into these practices from all over the country, not just Bethesda. There are lots of great apps that you can get on your phone. Headspace and Calm are very easy to use and highly rated by people of all ages for teaching a mindfulness meditation practice and just being there in meditations as short as about 5 minutes that you can practice each day. Using a mindfulness app before you go to bed is likely to lead to a more restful and peaceful night's sleep than watching CNN right before you go to bed or reading the newspaper. Okay, so eating right now is probably one of our biggest challenges, mostly in obtaining groceries during a time when we've been asked to practice social distancing and stay away from places, gathering spots. So on my information sheet, I do include some ideas for stocking your pantry or for putting on a shopping list from the New York Times. And I encourage you to take a look at this list that you can give to somebody who might be helping you go to the grocery store, or if you're ordering your groceries online, or if you're the one doing your shopping, to help you kind of get in and out pretty quickly. So you probably know to load up on things right now like rice and pasta, eggs, canned fish, frozen fruits and veggies, nuts, dried fruits, peanut butter, that kind of thing that can last a long time, nutrient-dense foods that last a long time. But I also want to give a shout out to root vegetables like this squash, potatoes, beets, turnips are also really good to have on hand. They're packed full of nutrients and they last a really long time. And the good news is that they are still on the grocery shelves. It's not what people are racing out to buy. So a little tip for something that you're likely to find when at the store these days. So lemons, olives, capers, ginger also are kind of fun to have around, as they can make the most mundane entree a little more fun and tasty and appealing. Okay, so when you're putting together your shopping list, I want you also to make sure you have the right supplies on hand should you get sick. So I always like to have Gatorade on hand to help when somebody in my family is recovering from diarrhea or vomiting. A cup of soups, things like that. They don't take up any room. They're light, and it's just really good to know. This is what I send my college students with, so I know that they always have what they need if they get sick unexpectedly. So other medications that you're going to want to have in addition to your regular prescription meds are fever reducing medications. Right now, Tylenol is recommended as the best one to reduce fever associated with COVID-19, but also cough suppressants, decongestants, throat lozenges, antacids, anything that's going to make you feel a little bit better. And of course, do unearth your thermometer so that you have that, because temperature readings are really important at this time. So I want to end by talking about some research from Stanford Center for Positive Psychology that talks about kind of the positives of stress. We hear so much about all of the negatives associated with stress and how excessive stress really hampers our physical health. You're probably aware of the stress hormones, adrenaline and cortisol, that get activated and put us in the fight or flight mode. But what you might not hear as much about is the cuddle hormone, or oxytocin. It's a hormone that moms who are breastfeeding also have a lot of. And this is a hormone that's also part of the stress response that actually causes us to want to seek out human interaction. So you might have noticed that there's a lot of acts of loving kindness going on right now, whether it's the poetry chain letter that you might have received encouraging you to send an inspirational poem to somebody on the list. You might have seen in the news how residents of Spain are going out on their balconies every night at 10 o'clock to applaud the country's healthcare workers. These are a few examples of the real pro-social behaviors we're seeing right now and the need that people feel to connect with one another. So this is a great time to figure out what you can do for somebody else, whether it's checking on a friend who might be especially alone, writing a letter, or maybe even your memoir, like my mom is doing right now, for your grandchildren. I know a lot of people are putting their sewing skills to use in making masks for our healthcare providers that are without. Whatever it is, taking time to do some good right now is going to be wonderful for the world, but also for your own health and well-being. So anyway, I just wanted to share a little bit of information to help you feel a little better during this most unusual time. So thanks for listening and stay well.